Yeah, I was like, hey.
I know, it's my bad. I'm like, darn it. Anyways, hey team, what we're going to cover today really quickly on the meal planning party is some really basic exercise fundamentals. Exercise things that if you do these things as far as form, intensity, challenge, rate of perceived exertion, all these sort of things, you'll be far more effective in your exercise and not have to second guess yourself more often. Now, what I'm about to share with you seems very basic, and it is very basic because the basics work. Don't get fancy, don't get cute. A lot of the stuff online is people being cute, trying to be fancy, and they do things incorrectly. So with that being said, I'm here and share my tablet real quick. Actually, make sure on here I don't have anybody's information showing right away because that would be no bueno. I'm not really a fan of sharing people's stuff without their explicit consent, you know? Not really cool. Share screen. Okay. All right. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to cover how form or how to know if you are in good form or not. There's really just a couple basic things. Okay. I call it like I used to call it like the 3 spine rule. Okay. So if this is, oh no, this is my messed up pen. Oh no. One second, let me make sure I have my good pen. If I don't, this is going to be finger paint and this is going to be disgusting. But it might very well be finger paint disgusting, team. I try to hide my pens from my kids because they inevitably break them. And, oh, wait, hold up. Please tell me this is the good one. Hey, we're doing business. Okay, so 3 spine rule. Okay, you got your noggin, you got your back. This is how fitness people draw hips. You've got your femur, you got your knee, ankle, foot. Okie dokie. That's you. Look at you. Looking all cool. Okay, so the 3 spine rule, what does that mean? From here, whoopsie, I gave somebody an extra appendage. There we are. Cool. 3 spine rule. This needs to be straight. Your back. Femur obviously needs to be straight. If it's not, it's broken. Problem. Shin needs to be straight. If it's not, problem, broken. Okay. What do I mean by 3 spine? Is that this thing, although your spine is a bone, it's made up of 5 or 7 cervical bones in your neck, 12 thoracic bones in your ribs that connect to your ribs, and then 5 lumbar. How do you remember that? What time do you eat breakfast? 7 a.m. What time do you eat lunch? 12. What time do you eat dinner? 5. How cool is that? Okay, and so all of these we want to have in some sort of straight fashion and or how it should be anatomically. What the am I saying? Okay, your cervical spine, if your noggin's here, your head should have a slight curve that way. That's normal. If your neck is straight, if it were straight, like this, and then this starts to curve this way, as it should, all the pressure of holding your melon is going to be put at the top of T1, thoracic spine. And your spine gets bigger as it goes down. So these little babies at the top, really, really small. These ones, bigger than those ones. These ones, the biggest, because you have more weight pushing down on you, right? Again, we're made of stardust, sure. Okay, so head, neck, thoracic, lumbar, should be like a spring. Now, it doesn't mean we want to have head, this, like a freaking weird snake, but your back should be fairly straight from the side. If we have this is straight, big old curve this way, and then your hips go, problem. If we have straight, big old curve this way, problem. We don't want that. So if you're doing a squat movement, okay, let's try and get back to the basics here. We're going to pull this bad boy here. You got your neck, got your spine, this. this should stay straight. If at any point you're back to some weird thing, like you hunch over like this, problem. If you go like this, problem. Rule number 1, 3 spine, gotta be straight. What if you're doing a push-up? Spine still needs to be straight. Hands on the ground, melon. Bone, knee, foot. Still straight. If this bad boy goes like this, problem. Problem. Deadlifting. Back still nice and straight. So if you're not familiar, if you don't know if you're doing this, what can you do? Take video, take pictures, have cues, chest up, butt back. All of those things help your body stay nice and straight. So if you're uncertain, if you're doing something incorrectly, the first step you have to ask yourself is my back straight? Yes or no? If your back is straight, you're probably doing just fine. Okay? Oopsie, sorry, this thing just fell on my lap. So that's the first thing. Oh, go back to sharing screen. Okay. This might be loud again.
Recording in progress.
Yep.
Here we go. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing is if a body part is not moving, is not involved in exercise, keep it straight. Keep it how it should be. So let's go with, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen again. So let's say in the deadlift. Okay. If your body part's not involved in the movement, don't screw with it. All right. So you've got a deadlift. What are you working in a deadlift? You're working your legs and your back. Shouldn't be an arm exercise. So your elbow shouldn't bend. Should stay nice and straight, right? So you only move the muscles that you're working in the movement. So example, let's bring it up to something super duper obvious. Oopsie, forgot the knee. Bicep curls. Your legs or your legs should not be moving around. Should stay nice and straight. Everything should be nice and still. Makes sense? Kind of obvious, I think. But those two things, I'm telling you, fix 95% of the problems when it comes to exercise. The third one, this is going to get the rest of the 3%. And then 2 is a little bit like circumstance, like back pain, imbalances, these sort of things. But almost everything you see gets cleaned up with these. The third one is using the full range of motion of the joint. What does that mean? Okay. Play with me here. Your elbow is it, actually, I need to scoot back. I'm going to assume we don't know what joints are. Joints are where 2 bones touch. That's a joint. A joint that moves is an articulating joint. They move around. Some joints don't move, thank God. Joints inside your hand, where your bones touch, don't move. Thank God, because your hand would be flopping all over the place. That would stink. So they need to stay still, some of them. Now, at those points, your joints do different things. Flex, extend, rotate, adduct, abduct, invert, evert, pronate, supinate. I forget what this movement's called, but it's a thing only your thumb can do, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. Okay. So looking at your elbow joint. Your elbow can go from, oops, 0 all the way up here, right? Almost to 180, but obviously not 180, because if it did, it would dislocate and line up with the upper part of your arm. That'd be wild, okay? So it gets to here. So when you're doing a movement like a bicep curl, you should go all the way down and all the way up. The full range of where that joint can articulate. If you don't, you're not training effectively, you're not having your muscles stretch under a load, which makes it stronger, but also you could start making the fascia, again, we're starting to get a little weeds here. This is the connective tissue that connects all the muscles together, right? All of that gets really, really tight. So it goes from here to here. Then when you try to put your joint under like a strain in a different position, that fascia that was really, really tight is now ultra tight, and this is when tears and breaks and things can happen in your joint. So you want to do the full range of the joint. So let's pull it back to a squat. When you squat, the full range of the joint is your hips get below your knees. What if you can't? Probably because of weight. How can you make a squat easier? Hold on to a chair so you can get all the way down. Could be for some tightness in the ankle. What do? Stretch and mobilize the ankle so that you can squat better and more efficiently. Now, how to do that's going to be for another day, right? But what we want to do is you need to, this is for example, this should be, nope, that makes no sense. Here we are. Okay, but we should do the full range of motion of the joint. So in the event of like, because what Rebecca sent me today was a bent over row. I did rows today too. Full range of my joint. Okay, my joint, I'm working shoulder, elbow joint in a row, right? So the full range is not here. Let me stop sharing the screen so I can show you better. The full range of the joint of my shoulder is not here. It's there. See, my shoulder can go forward. That's the full range. And then you pull with the shoulder, pull back with the arm. Boom, boom. Does it matter if you're doing standing rows? No. Bent over rows? No. Machine rows, which is what I did today? No. Dumbbell, kettlebell, band? No. All of it's the same. Here, all the way forward, pull, pinch. So far, so good. And then the fourth one is what cleans up almost everything else with imbalances and all this other stuff. Sweet. The fourth one is you work the biggest muscle to the smallest muscle in a compound movement. As an example. And by the way, I'm assuming something. How naughty of me. What is a compound movement? Actually, do you guys know what a compound movement is? Let me know what a compound movement is. I'm going to take a sip. There we go. Multiple body parts at once. Yes. Yeah. So a compound movement is using multiple similar body parts, but as joints. So think of it like a row as an example. Compound. I'm using my shoulder and my elbow. Boom. If I were to want to work my back using an isolation or what I call accessory movement, I can do this. Notice shoulder here does the same thing as I do this. I'm just getting rid of all the muscles to help pull my arm back, which is not this, because nothing back here crosses here. Nothing, no muscle. So anything that does this motion, I could also too, what is this motion? This is a flexion of my elbow. I can do this, and in theory, would work the same exact pattern as a bent over row. But I can knock two birds with one stone. I'd much rather do that. That's way better. So when we're talking about doing full range of motion of the joint. We also want to work the big muscles first, smaller muscles second, or down the line, okay? So in the example of a row, my back muscles are way bigger than my arm muscles. And as a general rule, the muscles closest to gosh, we're getting in the weeds. The muscles closest to where your arm or leg start are the stronger muscles. So actually it's the case in every case, okay? Whatever muscle is closest to the joint is the strongest one. So your bicep is here, but you also have shoulder here. This one is going to be stronger than this one, hopefully, unless there's a big imbalance. So if I'm doing an exercise and I'm trying to use the full range of motion of the joint, notice how I can do it incorrectly here. See how I did that? I pulled my arm first, shoulder second. No, 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 no. Arm first, shoulder second. With squat, it's really evident. Okay? With squats, see myself here. So with squat, let me turn this down a little bit. Okay. So with squats, my hips, I need those guys to work first. If I have my quads work first, what does it look like? And then I gotta go back with this. And I already feel the strain in my knee, so I'm not gonna do it. Okay, but back first. I had another one. Oh no, that was the one that fell. I forgot about that. Anyway, so this goes back first. If I don't have this is the full range, right? I'm at the bottom position, back is nice and straight, head is facing forward. I'm just looking at you guys so I can talk to you guys. Now, if I were to have not my hip muscles work first, have my quad muscles work first, what would it look like? I call it a stripper squat, which is what somebody was doing at the gym today, which is why I had to go away from them. And the coach didn't do anything, and they started going like this, and I was like, no shit. Obviously it hurts their knees, but you're not even standing. She was sitting down. It was mind-boggling. I'm like, you're sitting down while anyway, I wouldn't fire them, but I would be like, what the hell are you doing? If that was my coach. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so down, okay? Hips are working first. So you gotta straighten them bad boys out. These guys are pushing your legs up, helping you do that. Your hips are to get to a standing position, okay? Those are the 4 rules. If you do those 4 rules, almost everything takes care of itself. The imbalance, the am I doing this right? The is this challenging enough? Because you'll feel it. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I feel muscles working and I'm straining to do that. That's right where you need to be. But if you're doing 8-pound deadlifts, team, no, never, ever. My kid, who's 6, that weighs 35 pounds, deadlifts 53 pounds. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I pray to everything that's holy that you guys can deadlift more than that. And this is the 5th thing, and this is just a soapbox thing, so bear with me for a second, then we'll go over nutrition. But if you don't challenge your muscles when you exercise, you will literally, not me being an ass, you will literally get weaker. Literally. Because your muscles adapt to the stimulus that you give it. So if you're like, I'm just ramping up a little bit, I'm going to take it easy. Like, that feels good, but it will literally make you weaker. Your body will adapt to be weaker than what it is. Not better. But it feels like that's the thing to do. Now, I'm not saying when you have 3 sets of 10 that you should like pick a weight you can only do twice, because that makes no freaking sense. You gotta do something 10 times. But it should be challenging, like by set or by rep, like 8 out of that. It should be like, whoa, I am struggling. Because then your brain goes, whoa, we are struggling. we're gonna have to do something to overcome the stimulus, but we only did it one time, no big deal. Then you do another set and your body goes, whoa, we did it again. This might be something we need to start adapting for. And then you do it again. And your body's like, oh no, dude, we have got to do something because our body's being challenged in this fashion. We're probably going to need to keep doing it again. And so we need to do something. We need to make some neurological changes. We need to get some nerves down there to fire harder. And we need to get some bigger ponies down there so that we can move this weight that we're doing often. But if you only work out once and you're like, oh, I'm just so sore I can't move again. Or if you do, if you go to use 8-pound dumbbells on your chest press, shoulder press, deadlift, bicep curl, half raise, like odds are one of them at least is too light. And so you're like, stimulant, stimulant, stimulant. Oh, okay. Stimulant, stimulant. Oh, this is confusing. Body doesn't know what it needs to do. What are we trying to make it do? And I think one thing that I love about fitness, is you cannot fake it. You cannot fake being fit. Like, I might not look the fittest guy, but I'm strong. And I can go to the gym. There'll be somebody right next to me lifting weights, and I'll do more than them, and they'll look at me funny. Like, what the heck? Because I just push hard, and it's uncomfortable, and it's growth, and it's discipline, and it's grit, and it's like, I'm gonna overcome this thing. It's like every time I walk into the gym, it's like I'm going to war. And when you start treating it like that, war on whatever enemy you want it to be, man, it becomes real fun. And that enemy might be the old version of you, which is the best part. Okay, anyway, that's it for the recording of this. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. We're going to go on to the meal planning party. We're going to go over some nutrition. Hope to see you here next time. Adios.